Okay, if we can all find our seats. There'll be plenty of time for networking and photo ops after the program. Let's take a look at this video about Santa Ana. Yeah, you can applaud for that. Yeah. Maybe some of you are in the video. I don't know. Would you welcome the All-American Boys Chorus? Give them a round of applause.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wesley Martin. I'm the Artistic Director for the All-American Boys Chorus. I know I may sound like I just got off the plane this morning. In fact, I've been here for 16 years in Southern California. The All-American Boys Chorus is coming up on our 50th anniversary. They look pretty good for 50, right? Yeah. We believe in the transformative power of music to transform the lives of young men. We have what we call in the All-American Boys Chorus the trifecta, or the magic trifecta. Peer-to-peer mentorship, leadership training, and the pursuit of musical excellence. All three of these elements have been shown over the years, various studies, to provide outstanding excellence and training for the boys, and we have all three of them in our unique program right here in Santa Ana. In the summer of 2018, just a few weeks ago, we were on tour in China for 3 solid weeks of performances, a concert tour right across China there. We were doing our bit to help balance out the trade deficit there. This Saturday, you'll see the All-American Boys Chorus performing at the Festival of Children in South Coast Plaza from 1:30 and then again at 3:30. We'd love to see you there. If you've got nothing better to do, even if you do have something to do, it couldn't possibly be better than a performance of the Boys Chorus at South Coast Plaza in the Jewel Court. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. There's one other thing I want to mention before we do our next song. Our favourite thing to do in the Boys Chorus is to get our audience to sing along. So I hope you're feeling game. I hope you're up for it. We were on tour in Kansas a couple of years ago, and we did our next song in Kansas, and you couldn't believe it. The people were singing it like they were insane. And it turns out that Home on the Range is their state song, official state song. So, do we have anyone here from Kansas? No? Well, I want you to all pretend like you're from Kansas and you just flew in for the afternoon. Now, when I turn around, that's our invitation for you to make like a Kansas person and like you're the last cowboy on the prairie. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say you were from Kansas as a result of that performance. On the same tour, a little later on, we went up to the top of Pikes Peak, and at the top of Pikes Peak, you can actually see Kansas on a clear day. But you'll also see printed the words to our next song, America the Beautiful.
Oh
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to stand for the national anthem.
Thank you. You may be seated. So the All-American Boys Chorus, we thank you, Wes and Tony, for being here today. And, you know, today is a little bit about, or a lot about, the assets that we have here in Santa Ana. The All-American Boys Chorus, located right here in Santa Ana. So I'm extremely happy to have them come and share with us today. And I'm sure that if your business organization is looking for some talented musicians, this is only part of the All-American Boys Chorus. There's 130 boys that make up the whole chorus. So your organization may want to have all 130, I don't know. You know, we had about 40 today. So anyway, we're excited that you're here today. My name is Dave Elliott. I'm President and CEO of your Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce. And, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Good. That $5 I gave Eddie Kiera has paid off. So this is our 5th annual GROW conference. People say, what does GROW mean? Well, geography, resources, opportunity, and workforce. That's what it stands for, and we kind of talk about the GROW conference, and people kind of knows what that is, kind of the brand. And we're excited about all the presenters that will be sharing today what's going on here in Santa Ana and what's being proposed to happen here in Santa Ana when it comes to development and housing and all those kinds of things. You're going to hear from some great people today about all those kinds of things. But the big thing I have to do today is recognize a few people and recognize our sponsors. But first, I think, is David here? Benavides? Okay, so now he's embarrassed. Tell him that we missed him, okay? But anyway, I thought David was going to be here. But Tony Rackauckas, where's Tony at? He's our district attorney. Tony, thank you for coming out today. Really appreciate the work that you're doing to protect our city and our county. I do want to draw your attention to a few things. We gave you a little bag when you came in, and we had some goodies in there, but I also had 3 pieces of information that I wanted to just touch on, a couple things coming up. We have a candidates forum next on the 20th, which is, a week from tomorrow, at the Delhi Center. And there's some information about that candidates forum. We have 3 open council seats this year. We have a number of people that'll be showing up to kind of talk with us about their view of the city and what's important to in their viewpoint of the city as potential council members. We also have, the mayoral race as well. So that's going to be, that information is in your packet. We're excited to have our next Vision Makers Breakfast coming up on October 4th with President Fram Vergy, who's here with us today, and he will be our guest speaker on the 4th. And then probably the most important item coming up, the end of October, is the golf tournament. So if you're a golfer, we need you to be there. If you're not a golfer, we need you to be there. So that information is there for you. And then I just want to take a couple of minutes. We've been having a number of our sponsors. This doesn't happen today without these great sponsors. The City of Santa Ana has partnered with us for 5 years on the GROW Conference. And I just want to thank the city, the mayor, and the staff for taking the time and the investment into the GROW Conference. And we couldn't do it without that partnership with the city. So we thank the City of Santa Ana for their participation with us. The last 3 or 4 years, our gold sponsor has been Caribou Industries. Is Michael here? Mike Harris? Mike Hara? Where's Mike at? Up in the balcony. Big Mike, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the support for the GROW Conference. And then Amusement Park, where's Mike? Mike Weissman's backstage, so he'll be out here in a couple of minutes. But Amusement Park for all the work that they do with us this year. Then we have a number of other silver sponsors. Main Place Mall, where's Jonathan at? Jonathan, you're down here. Thank you, Jonathan. Main Place Mall, give him a round of applause. Cal State Fullerton, Fram is down here. Where's Fram? Okay, right here in the front, so thank you, Fram, Cal State Fullerton. And then we have a number of our bronze sponsors, Bear Processing, Habitat for Humanity, Wells Fargo. Yeah, you can applaud for each one of them, that's fine. 4th Street Market, Santa Ana College, and First American. Yeah, the college is well represented here, we know that. And then AT&T, we thank all those. And then there's a ton of what we call table and corporate sponsors listed in the program, have been listed up here. Again, this doesn't happen without those committed sponsors for the GROW Conference. So I'm going to get off the stage. I told them that I was going to do this and then I was leaving town. Some of you probably say, yeah, we've got to get out of town, that kind of thing. But anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies today and good friend. He is one of our board members. He is the president of Amusement Park. He is the founder of the Values Institute. He's doing a lot of these things. He's a great friend, and he's also the vice chair of our Economic Development Council. Would you welcome Mike Weissman?
Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. Oh, friendly faces. How nice. People who know me hate it because I always go off script at the very beginning. But I have to. So for a brief moment, right, in our crazy days, young men get up and sing these songs, and for that moment, everything is right in the world. So I just want to acknowledge that. Okay, I'm centered now. Let's start here. From Portland to Austin, Soma to Soho, LA Live to the San Diego Gaslamp District, there is a movement afoot back to the urban core. It's revolutionizing the way people live, work, and play. And the center of urbanization in Orange County lies in its only 20-hour city, transit-oriented, culturally rich, and amazingly diverse. Yes, it's our own beloved Santa Ana. So for developers, investors, employees, and entrepreneurs, real estate brokers, students, residents, Santa Ana represents a true backdrop for creative innovation, which is the theme of our conference this year. From its thriving arts and culture, eclectic culinary scene, which I imbibe in daily. Thank God for detoxes. They help. Cutting-edge retail, which we'll talk more about today. Emerging active transportation environment. And forward-thinking educational partners creating a pathway to success for every student of all ages in Santa Ana. We represent and epitomize the very best of new urbanism. So here's proof. This venue that we're sitting in today, it's amazing. We look boldly to the future, anchoring ourselves in all of those generations that came before us in this city. But we have such a bright future in front of us, but the place that we're in right now is the epitome of this. So just so that for those that you don't know, This venue was originally built in 1913. So there's a sense of history right next to you. God knows who was sitting here, maybe next to you, all those years ago. It opened as the Auditorium Theater. I did a little bit of research because I'm fascinated with the history of Santa Ana. It housed vaudeville, silent films and talkies, and even concerts. And yes, included luminaries like Sonny and Cher. And for my brothers, Ike and Tina Turner. Right here on this stage. The rumor that I heard, and I believe it's true, when I first came to Santa Ana about 20 years ago, was that in the 1940s that Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall could be spotted here, hiding out from the paparazzi in Hollywood, doing whatever they do at the Yost. It wasn't called the Yost at that point. So there's a rich history here. And this is just one example of this renaissance that's been going on for years in Santa Ana and continues. So I just briefly want to share my own story because I think it's indicative of so many others that I have come to know and love here in this city. Almost 20 years ago, my partners and I brought our advertising and communications firm to the downtown. I still remember the day when Main Street was shut down for a few blocks. We had a taste of, our own little taste of, and I can remember the mayor who was here earlier had to get to LAX, but was here leading the conga line through our agency. It was an interesting introduction to Santa Ana, but one that we haven't forgotten since. And we're literally one block away from where I'm standing right now. So why did we come? Well, we were searching for a canvas of creativity to spur our own growth. So we put down roots. We purchased the old City Hall building, a magnificent place. It's become an amazing home for us. And then every day since, we've just kind of fallen more and more in love with the city that's been so good to us and also our neighbors. And when I say neighbors, I mean all of our neighbors. For those of you who may not be familiar with Faces of Santa Ana and the homeless population here, we have many of their portraits hanging in our agency, and these are our true friends. So it's an amazing richness that comes in living and working and playing here in Santa Ana. We have a bird's eye view, and have had for these 20 years, of the incredible transformation that is unfolding every single day in Santa Ana. And we're just one story. But today we're here to celebrate more stories. Stories of those who have chosen to invest in a sustainable future for the city and every single person who lives here. So Santa Ana is truly a city that welcomes creativity and innovation, and today we're going to take a look at those themes. We're going to unpack that, as my MBA friends say. And we're going to bring them to life by hearing other stories from some other people who are pioneering our bright future. So I'd like to begin this afternoon by introducing a man who has a very big role, a major role, a big responsibility, and good that he has broad shoulders and a big heart as well. But this man is responsible for the shaping of much of economic development and really all things Santa Ana. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Santa Ana's new city manager, Mr. Raul Godinez.
I want to thank Mike for that wonderful introduction. Although I think my honeymoon must be getting close to being over. But I want to start off by thanking the Chamber of Commerce for its leadership role in organizing this conference. You know, economic development is vital for every city. You know, it's how we're able to enjoy the amenities that we hold dear in any community. You know, your shopping, your lodging, your technology infrastructure. It's how we are able to sustain public infrastructure investments, etc. But it also provides a significant portion of a city's revenue. In Santa Ana, for example, sales tax and property taxes constitute over 50% of our top 6 general fund revenues. and it's about 18% of the overall general fund revenue stream. You know, this is an exciting time to be doing business or investing in Santa Ana. I mean, the level of interest in our city reflects this. We have over 100 projects planned or under construction currently, 1.4 million square feet of commercial space, over 6,000 new residential units in the pipeline, $900 million worth of private investments. And all of this interest is pretty much based on the existing circumstances that make us attractive today. However, I believe that we have a project that will be nothing short of transformative for us in the near future, and that's the Orange County streetcar. The OC streetcar is moving forward this year, and I had the privilege of being involved in the planning part a few years back when I was serving as your Public Works Director. But the Orange County Transportation Authority has just awarded a contract for $407 million. And it's going to, the construction should begin this fall and go through, get completed by 2021. When we were planning this project, we went to Portland to take a look at really the most successful streetcar system in America. And what they've seen since they started to build their line is about 85% floor area ratio, 85% within 3 blocks on either side of the alignment. Quite a bit of maximizing basically the potential of the properties along its route. So we're very much looking forward to that, and I see that being a first leg that takes us over to a major transportation hub in Garden Grove. I see the next leg going down Harbor, and I'm not speaking for OCTA, I'm sure they've got more detail on this, but I think it's logical that it would eventually make a loop somewhere and take us somewhere else and bring residents and traffic from other places to our downtown. In addition to that, we have another project, a little bit more visionary, a little bit more long-term, and that's the idea that we want to become a gigabit city. Public Works Agency and the Information Technology Department, which, by the way, is a new department. When I was here the first time, we didn't have an IT department. It was sort of spread out throughout the city. But now we have a director who's visionary, and working with Public Works, have established the idea of having a fiber optic master plan. And we just brought on a consultant to do that. It's pretty exciting because the consultant has actually had real-world success. The city of Santa Monica has been doing this for 20 years. They've been growing their own fiber network. We believe that this will have all kinds of economic development benefit for attraction and also for retention. It'll also bring benefits for our residents here. And towards that goal, the city, before I got here, had already moved to purchase 11,000 streetlights from Southern Cal Edison, which we believe will be a key part of this infrastructure to turn us into a smart city. And we're partnering with Southern Cal Edison on all kinds of incentives to pay for these streetlights through energy savings when we convert them to LED. We've also done quite a bit of work in the last few months around dealing with this homeless issue. We have taken the lead. We were just in court on this last Friday, and I'm happy to report to you that we were the first to present of all the cities that were present with a plan for an interim shelter that will help provide much needed services for the folks that are currently living on our streets and begin to make a real difference for all of us who care about this issue. My biggest contribution towards economic development in this city is really to hire the very best. So with that in mind, I have the privilege of introducing 2 key hires in this area. We have, and I've had an opportunity to fill a lot of vacancies. It's a real privilege for that. I'll just go over the key positions that I've filled so far. I started off with the Chief of Police. I ended up promoting one of our own, David Valentine, who is he's a Santa Ana native and Santa Ana College graduate. We were able to lure a very talented Human Resources Executive Director, Stephen Pham, from the City of Orange. He's done a phenomenal job in the short time he's been here, great leadership skills and a high level of energy. I've also recently hired a Public Works Director from the City of San Francisco. He served as a city engineer, so here we're drawing somebody with the world-class city experience into our city. And the key thing, besides being very knowledgeable about public works, the thing that's important to note about Fuad is he has actually been a developer. He's taken a break from public life to go into the private sector, and he's actually been a developer, so he has that experience. Will be a key part of this economic development team that we're building. But with the 2 directors that I'm going to introduce today, I want to start off by welcoming or introducing Mr. Min Tai. He's the new Executive Director for the Planning and Building Agency. Min, in charge of planning and building, it's normally, if you think about it, it's a regulatory function. You've got planning, follow rules. You've got building, follow code. You've got code enforcement, more of the same. And what I thought would be really key is to have somebody with an economic development background. In his previous city, he was a director of economic development. He knows planning, but he also understands economic development, and he's a problem solver. He's somebody that gets to yes. For those of you who are developers, he will be a key asset. He will help guide you to yes. If there's a way, he'll find it for you in partnership with you and your team. He has a goal to launch and increase economic development through the city by incorporating technology, reducing wait time, and actually being culturally aware of the community needs while speaking on the city's looking to improve our business-friendly atmosphere. Second appointee in this area is Mr. Steven Mendoza. He's our new Executive Director for Community Development, for the Community Development Agency. And Steven will be leading the economic development efforts for the city, as well as providing new housing opportunities for the residents in our city. And so I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Mendoza to take it from here.
Actually, we're going to do Min first.
Oh, we're going to do Min first. Okay. Actually, Min will go first. So this is really my contribution to economic development. I can't be at all places, but this is, and they're working very well together, but they both have a very strong economic development background. So without any further ado, Mr. Tai.
Thank you. Oops. Apologize for that. I understand we have video to play before I start, so please take a look.
We're here today in the lobby of the historic Orange County Register, and there's a lot of great things that we're doing with the building. We're going to turn this into more of a urban mini-city. It'll include 2 40-story buildings, a 20-story building, retail, wholesale. There will be a hotel. There will also be apartments. We're now standing in the actual one half of the printing press plant. The key point that we have here is the creative office space that we're going to create. You will see how the interior changes. These machines would come out. There would only be a few of them left here for historic aesthetic value, and then the rest of it would be open space on 3 different levels. So utilizing that, keeping the historic value, working together with urban settings, and using creative office space is what our focal point is at Caribou Industries.
Over the last 5 or 10 years, Santa Ana, both the business community and the city itself, have made great strides into turning downtown Santa Ana into the most exciting place in Orange County and all of Southern California. The residential portion is kind of the last piece of the puzzle for the downtown revitalization. We're standing here in front of the First American Title property. It's been empty for the last 4 years. We're proposing to bring a mixed-use project. It'll have multiple levels of residential units. It'll be wrapped by ground floor retail and amenities, and we'll have significant recreational amenities within the project as well.
Well, you're standing here on a 3-acre parcel that we own and intend to build a 140-room hotel, along with a retail component on the corner of the property of approximately 10,000 square feet. What makes this property unique is going to be the fact that it's a mixed-use development, and the retail component provides services that are highly needed in this area. You're looking at a business park behind me called the Brook Hollow Business Center that is in need of the services that we're looking to provide here.
We're standing in the parking lot that will become the new 135-room, 6-story Hilton Hampton Inn Hotel. Attached to this property will also be 2 historical homes that will create coffee shops, dining event for the patrons of the hotel. On this location, we have Bowers Museum across the street from us. We also have the Main Place Mall to the north of us. We have the Discovery Cube. We have patrons and guests coming into our city that have to turn around and leave because there is no place to actually sleep at night available to them at this end of the town. We feel that this will be a great additive to the city to give them the ability to stay here, spend their money here, enjoy the events and the items that are here, and we look forward to being part of that process.
The economic impact that we're going to see here is literally thousands and thousands of people that will live here, work, play, spend money, no cars, a lot of walking, a city that has everything all rolled into one.
Past mixed-use projects that have been approved by the City of Santa Ana have shown significant increases of revenue over costs. These increases come in the form of sales tax that our retail will be producing, increased property taxes from our property from the higher and better use, and of course our residents will be contributing to the overall business community by visiting the local businesses both within the downtown area but also the greater Santa Ana area as well.
So what we have here is the opportunity to maximize the use of space in a high quality environment, which we're creating a significant amount of energy.
It's the work, live, play combination that really makes an urban location a special place for people to gather for all of those uses.
Today, urbanism is the key to the future. To connect that together with innovation by doing creative things such as adaptive reuse apartments, creative office space, creative workshop area is really important.
We have the ability to let the folks stay here locally, let the folks visit the downtown that want to come in and experience that new mix, that new culture that's happening, but have them not have to leave. As we all know, once they leave the area, they take their dollars with them. We would like to have them be able to stay here, experience the awesome downtown nature of things, and just get more of the culture that the city has to offer.
This community will be a key element in what makes urban environments so special.
Before Mr. Ty gets going with his presentation, I just realized I'm definitely ensuring that my honeymoon is going to be cut short by this great admission. One of the other assets that we have in terms of economic development is my city council. They are very, very pro-economic development. When I started, in fact, during the interview, that was one of the big focus issues for them, is to focus on maximizing our economic development potential. We have a very diverse council that in each area, they're well accomplished. We have attorneys, we have people from public safety, we have people from the nonprofit sector, people who focus on youth, either through programming or education and whatnot. Today we have with me 2018 Educator of the Year for California and my council member, Sal Tinajero.
You can see I'm a little bit short. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we start, that video really demonstrates a lot of activities that are going on in our city and a lot of development interests. I've been working in this field for over 25 years for different cities, private organizations. But, coming here, I met, really, I got to know a couple of the personalities that you saw on screen there. And what I started to learn is that, these people, I would call, our community members, are very vested here. You can see through their vision and discussion that, not only do they believe in investing in our city, but also they want to create something that is going to be a catalyst. People like Mike, when I talk to him, Mike Harrell from Caribou, there's so much that he has invested, so many years that he invested into our city that I think that if we keep moving forward, we'll be a success. Kevin, again, working with him on the hotel just recently, I really started to understand that they are looking to make an investment, a long-term investment, and not just, doing a project and move forward. So I really want to applaud for our existing developer, but also for anyone that wants to come to our city and do business here. We welcome you as well. So for that, I just want to give you a quick applaud. I'm going to apologize for a little bit. This has been a new year for me in terms of my personal life. I just sent off my oldest daughter to college, and things are changing in my life. And I apologize for fidgeting around with glasses because I'm starting to need glasses for reading. So I lost my 20/20 vision. So so I have no hindsight. I only looked for the future. The little bit about myself, as I mentioned, I have a little bit over 25 years of development experience and working for various other cities. But when I was asked to come to Santa Ana, I really saw a community that has great potential, that really, has culture, heritage, that looks towards preserving the past and celebrating it, but also what can be done to celebrate the future. So I'm very honored to be working with a very talented new team that our city manager and our city council has selected. And I'm honored to be working and serving the community to gain the vision that our city manager and our city council has set for us. So thank you, Councilman Tina Harrell, for being here, and thank you, city manager, for hiring me. The goal, one of my personal in coming here is, and I was asked, first thing is to be working very closely with Steve. So we're brothers from another mother, but working very closely so that as our city manager discussed, the things that planning, building, code enforcement, they're all regulatory type functions. How do we make those friendlier? How do we really look at the way we do business and renewing our approach to looking at how we do business. So these are some of the areas that I want to kind of go over, and you can see up front, so I'm not going to discuss them in terms of bullet by bullet, but there are a lot of transformative changes in our community that we are here to help make happen, and we're here to help shepherd to move forward. The renew approach we're talking about is to really look at, from a regular standpoint, transforming that to a customer-based experience. And what I mean by customer-based experience is we're looking at how do we work with our community, how do we work with our residents and our development community to help and be a facilitator to making change, to make things happen. We're looking at being a customer-centric. I always talk to our staff, put yourself in the developer's shoe, put yourself in our residents' shoe. If you're investing millions of dollars, what would you like to hear? What do you want to know? So those are the type of things that, we're hopefully to retool our staff, retool our department, to really reapproach the way that we look at our process, shifting our paradigm, and really what I would call sustainable governance. And sustainable governance is when we shift from, as I mentioned, going from just being a regulatory body to a facilitatory body, to something that is going to help make change happen, being a change agent. So I want to empower our staff to be able to make good decisions. But at the end of that process is to take ownership of that process and really help to move things along and be able to not only take an idea from paper to the approval, but also to putting a shovel in the ground. That's when really, in my perspective, that's when really we have been successful, is to be able to see the construction crane, dirt's moving. But also to understand beyond the development aspect, but also understand the cultural diversity. Be a guide to our community, be an ambassador for our residents, be an ambassador for our developer. So in order to do that, you have to really understand the differences, right? Our staff are trained with our code. They are experts. Our developers are not, our residents are not. So I see their job as being like a docent in a museum, helping people to get to what they want, helping people to get to yes. And there's no better way that can be expressed in terms of the word yes. If you look at the bottom picture, a happy couple shaking hand with our staff, a smile. There is nothing that can explain that better than getting to yes. So, in keeping with the theme of being transformative and looking at what are we going to do from this point, moving towards the future, when I come to the city, when I first drove around the city of Santa Ana, my instant first reaction was Santa Ana is a world-class city. It is a global city with global name recognition. Elements that I think as a planner of a great city include, being a center of government, iconic landmarks, a great balance of land use between residential, commercial, retail, public facility, access to public transit. You have access to the heavy rail. Coming up, as our city manager mentioned, the streetcar. You have institution for higher learning, our community colleges. Within a mile range, we have, a university. So, healthcare. These are the elements that really makes a great city. Museums, arts and culture. We celebrate all of those things, and you know what? All of those things are here. You may not notice, but a lot of cities throughout California, throughout Southern California and the state do not have those elements. So those are the elements I think of when I think of a great city. And, another thing, the airport, right? Connecting to the airport. And the airport, it's John Wayne, but it's SNA. So Santa Ana, again, we have a lot of global recognition. What can we do to really capitalize on that? And we're in the process as a city in terms of being transformative, having a brand new executive staff. Our council has tasked us with updating our general plan. The general plan, just real quickly, is basically the blueprint for development and growth in our city. It is the policy document that the council has used as a community to work with our community, provide directions for staff to move our community forward, creating a roadmap for the future. So the last time this document was amended was in the early 80s. That's older than me, I'm just kidding. But a lot of things have changed since the 80s. Our community core values have changed. The business environment has changed. The regulatory environment has changed. And yet we have not really updated the document to reflect our current values and all of the changes. So our city council directed us to move forward with that. And, it is going to be a roadmap for development for the future. Considering the limited resources that we all face today, this roadmap will help us to focus in on what we need to do in order to get there. Putting pieces and pieces together as like a puzzle, step by step, is not going to happen overnight. To think that we can change a city overnight is something that is I think it's almost impossible to do. The communities that you've seen that have created success is a 10, 15, 20 years process. Movie stars, sports stars, you think they have instant success. They put in thousands and thousands of hours. In fact, I read research that, in order to be really good at what you do, you need at least to invest 10,000 hours of time, of your personal time in doing that activity to be there. Most actors, most sports stars like Shaquille O'Neal, they start off all these things for many years. So what I want to impress upon is that it won't be overnight. These things change, takes time. And if you give us time, you provide the support, and we focus our resources, these things will happen. So the general plan, I won't go over the boring stuff, but it deals with transportation, and we have a very vibrant, active transportation. Heavy rail, bus transit, streetcar transit. We have new, a personal transit like Uber, Lyft. Talking about land use, we now have the opportunity to reimagine our city, the city of Santa Ana. What do we want to be now in terms of, celebrating our heritage and culture? What do we want to look for the future? What do we want to be? So it deals with economic development. It deals with just environmental justice and sustainability, because there's issues of environment that we have to deal with, and these decision also have an impact on economic development. So we all need to plan ahead. One of the things that I've said in the past, and I share this with my children as well, is that, it's always better to be lucky than good. I'll take that over being good any day. However, if you're not well prepared, if you don't plan ahead, you will not be able to capitalize on your luck. And a very wise person once shares a story with me to demonstrate this is that, as simple as going to a baseball game, sitting in the outfield, a person sitting next to each other, one's holding a hot dog and drinks, and the other one has a glove in his hand. The ball pop flies coming right at them. Who do you think has a better chance of catching that ball? I think we can all say that, the person with the glove, plan ahead a little bit, look ahead, and they're ready. So that's what a general plan does. It helps us to be ready to capitalize on our fortune, to capitalize on the economic boom, and also prepare us for when there's a recession. We know what to do. We plan ahead. We continue to move forward ahead, whether it's good times or bad time. And that's really the message I'd like to share with you. To be able to capitalize on current trends, just because we're updating the general plan today doesn't mean that we have to put everything on hold. As our city manager mentioned, we have over $100 million, 100 projects, and a significant amount of private investment. That's private investment that's being invested into our community. People like Mike, people like Kevin, they believe in us and they want to put money here so that we and them can continue to be successful. So residential projects, you see many of these projects are either being constructed or going to be approved. We have big names, Shea Homes, Toll Brothers, KBs. These are all great names to be associated with our community. These are the things that we as communities should think about as we move forward, is that can we and should we support these type of activities? And we believe we do. Let's support that, because it's going to be very fruitful for us to continue to support development that will help us to create economic sustainability. So with that, I'd like to introduce my brother, Stephen Mendoza, as part of the economic development team here. Stephen?
Thank you, man, very much. Welcome to Santa Ana. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for being here, investing here, making a here in Santa Ana. We couldn't do it without you. You being in the room means Santa Ana is important to you, as it is to me. My name is Stephen Mendoza. I've been a resident of Santa Ana for 19 years. Now, I'm lucky enough to help implement policy of our council and our city manager that I have to live with for probably the next, hopefully, 45 years. So I'm very lucky and very blessed to be doing what I'm doing. But today we're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about what's going on in Santa Ana. We're going to talk about the 5 F's of retail. We're going to talk about shrinkage in retail. And we're going to throw in some cannabis talk, if you don't mind. I know, I get to talk about the vices, huh? How fun. California is now the 5th largest economy in the world. Our job growth is above the nation's job growth. Santa Ana's unemployment rate went from 14% in 2009 to 2.6% today. I think that's incredible. Santa Ana has the employees that your businesses need. But please do not steal mine. I'm keeping them. They're terrific and priceless. With low unemployment rates, increases in construction and manufacturing jobs, and with a high school graduation rates that you'll hear about a little bit later, and a low 2.9 industrial vacancy rate, 2018 is good in Santa Ana. Recently, I heard a presentation from Beacon Economics. I want to give them a little bit of a shout out because I took some of their speech. I want to share what I think is better today in California. I think communications is better than it's ever been. We have a tight reach and an easy reach to anyone we want to be in contact with. Medical care and pharmaceuticals have improved. Entertainment options, concerts. We have 2 football teams, 2 baseball teams, soccer, basketball, incredible.
Our food quality and variety has improved here. We have access to information. We can locate anything on our phones by reaching into our pockets, but please set those phones for Santa Ana locations only. Legalize marijuana, how cool is that? And the CBD oil industry, that is really taking off. They say that's going to be $1 billion industry this year. It's exciting for Santa Ana personally. Cars are better, more reliable. When's the last time you saw a car on the Grapevine overheat? It's just not happening anymore the way we worried about it when I was a kid. Environmental conditions, I think that's as well has improved. Who remembers the word smog alert and who's heard it lately? Don't think we've heard that term lately. So things are getting better in California and things are getting better in Santa Ana. Let's talk about what our worries are. You know, I think sometimes there's a disconnect of what we worry about. We worry about the number of jobs when we should actually be worrying about the number of workers that we have. We're probably seeing that with our low unemployment rates. We worry about who pays for health care. We should be worrying about what we're paying for in health care. We worry about business investment, and we should be worrying about a lack of public investment. We worry about inflation. I think we need to start worrying about the slowing lending going on. And we worry about the cost of California housing, where maybe we should be worrying about the supply of California housing. But you've seen in the previous two presentations that we are improving in that area of housing. So things are looking up. Things are changing. Housing costs are high, and there's a low inventory, and it's making more difficult for your employers to recruit those much-needed employees. For the first time in history, fast food, fast casual, and other restaurants have surpassed grocery sales. Can you believe that? I think if you think about it, it's a fact now. Grocery stores are a smaller part of our life than they used to be. Now, let's talk about the F word. How about the 5 Fs? Furniture, fun, fashion, food, and fitness. Look around. Where do you see an example of a big box transforming into several small boxes? I think that really is our future. None other than our own Main Place with Jonathan Mayer. You had an amazing transformation, an example right here with the old Macy's. Macy's had furniture, Ashley Furniture. Fun, bowling. Fashion, DXL Men's Store. Food, Lucille's Volcano Panini Grill. Fitness, 24-hour fitness. Now, you brokers, you planners, you business license people out there in this audience, that is your future. You're going to have to start transforming your larger retail spaces into the variety of the 5 Fs. And that is the next wave, and I'm sure Jonathan will talk a little more about Main Place's next transformation as he speaks in a few minutes. Retail is becoming more of a destination, experience, entertainment, and blended uses. Now let's talk about shrinkage and the relationship to customer service. Please stand up if you serve small business. Either you're a broker, you're a property manager, you're a business licensed expert, you're a city planner. Please stand up. I want to thank you all, but I'm announcing that your lives are about to change. Tenant spaces are being subdivided and a new generation of smaller businesses is taking over. There's fewer PetSmarts and more kickboxing facilities. There's fewer Sears and more fast casual restaurants. I think we're already seeing that. Spaces are smaller, tenants are less sophisticated, so we have to ask ourselves, who's our new customer? Are we ready for that customer? It's time to concentrate on small business, folks. It's time to provide intimacy, accountability. Small business is about customer service, experience, and authenticity. So we have to change along with that business environment. And it's important here in Santa Ana. We have a lot of retail strip malls. We have our downtown core. We're going to have to adjust to this new economy. The tenants are changing. The diversification of our storefronts are changing. And what are we doing to address this? How can the city help an inexperienced tenant at the counter? I think we all have to look at talking away from the jargon we used to use with those sophisticated tenants. We're not having those sophisticated tenants. We're having 10 smaller tenants that we're working with now. So emailing a section of the municipal code doesn't cut it anymore. What can a property manager what can a property manager do to help their tenants at their site? The less experienced tenants, the tenants that may only have one site and don't have a franchise leader or 7 other locations around the country. Emailing the tenant a section of their lease, telling them they violated the lease, is in the past. We can't be operating that more. We have to be more intimate. We have to do better. Our customers are changing. We need to change. I'm ready for the change. Can we train each other to be better? I think we can. I believe deep down that every leasing agent, property manager, planner, and business license employee can provide a better service by becoming more sensitive to those merchants and tenants. And that's the challenge for all of us in our industry. I'm part of your industry. I've changed. Try being married to a small business owner. I think you'll understand their plight very fast. Only then will we be able to only then will a service level improve, which is a mandatory in this new economy. This new economy is exciting, but we have to get and change. We have to change the way we did things in the past, and we have to bring a new level of service, maybe the Disney way. We have to bring the new level of service to all things we do to serve this new economy. Now, I'm going to quote Simon Sinek, because I'm a big fan of Simon. I'm not sure if any of you are, but when Simon says something, I kind of listen to it. So we're talking about technology, we're talking about modernization, but let's go back a step. Trust is not formed through a screen. It's formed across a table. It takes a handshake to bind humans, and no technology yet can replace that. And there's no such thing as virtual trust. I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak with you about Santa Ana and the way that the Economic Development Department will be helping you in your endeavors throughout the city. Thank you very much, and I will turn it back over to Mike.
So I've gotten to know Raul and Min and Stephen, and I'm just so impressed. Having been here 20 years now and seeing men of this caliber. I'm really impressed with their vision. I'm absolutely impressed with their spirit of collaboration. That's what I noticed when I came 20 years ago. It's an interesting mosaic of business, nonprofit, for-profit working together here and seeing those tides raise all boats. What I appreciate most about them, however, is their entrepreneurial spirit. It's absolutely vital. And as we all know, growth requires risk. By definition, that's what all entrepreneurs have in common, is that they share that risk. It is not for the faint of heart, but the journey is certainly well worthwhile. And our next guest is an amazing example of this. I can't think of anybody more qualified to speak on the idea of creative innovation than our next guest. When we decided on the theme this year, I immediately reached out to him. This was months and months and months ago. And fortunately, our schedules worked, because at the time he was extremely busy, had so many things going on, but he acquiesced, and time has a way of making things happen, and so we're thrilled to have him here today. He has led UCI's Applied Innovation Center as its CIO and executive director. He's introduced young entrepreneurs with venture capitalists on site at The Cove, which I'm sure most of you have heard about by now, state-of-the-art technological facility that last year hosted over 700 events, and I love it because he calls this a center of gravity for connections between local startups, UCI researchers and students, corporations and investors. He calls himself a bootstrap entrepreneur. In doing a little research, I found out why, because in his early life, he ran lemonade stands and washed neighbors' cars. I think a lot of us were entrepreneurs like him at that time. He has an absolute passion for helping other entrepreneurs create opportunities that he calls accidental collisions and collaborations. I love that idea. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome to the stage our keynote for this afternoon, Mr. Richard Sudek.
What's that? Oh, okay. All right. So good afternoon. Wow, this is a tough crowd. Okay. Maybe a little too much talk about planning. Let's try this again. Good afternoon. All right. Thank you. My name is Richard Sudek, and I'm the Executive Director of Applied Innovation and Chief Innovation Officer at UC Irvine. And I'm here today to really share what we're trying to do to help entrepreneurs, inventors, and innovators here in Orange County. So, if you haven't heard about UCI Applied Innovation, we opened our doors in 2015. We actually started with about 1,500 square feet. We currently have 48,000, and we're going to 112,000 first quarter next year. We're located in the research park next to UCI, and we consider ourselves really a platform for entrepreneurs and inventors, both UCI and community entrepreneurs, inventors, investors, the business community, and everyone involved to really make entrepreneurship happen here in Orange County. We also help move things from the lab to the market, commercialize and translate the great research at UCI. But our vision really is to help make Orange County a globally recognized entrepreneur and innovation region. I'm very passionate about that. I think that's important. It's not about Irvine, it's about Orange County and really Southern California. So when we talk about applied innovation, there's really four main areas we focus on. So first, we handle what's called the tech transfer operation, or the filing and licensing of patents. What's called industry-sponsored research, so engagement with industry, entrepreneurship from students to faculty to alums, and again, this focus on really elevating Orange County. So when you look at these four areas, what we're really doing is we're building the American dream. That's what this is really about. That's what entrepreneurship is about, at least to me. So how do you build the American dream? Well, we're building it via the Cove, which stands for Safe Harbor for entrepreneurs, but really allowed me to create the decor and cool beach and surfboards and wear shorts. So this is Applied Innovation's headquarters. It's a state-of-the-art facility. As I mentioned, it's growing, and it's resources available to entrepreneurs and investors in industry, not UCI, but for Orange County. And this creates a lot of planned connections and collaborations. As Michael said, we had 700 events and 45,000 people through the building last year. But it also helps create accidental collisions or collaborations, which is just as important, really. So what we're really trying to do is create a center of gravity in Orange County so we can elevate, again, Orange County. So my belief is that dreams are really created by entrepreneurs and inventors. And in Orange County, we're helping these entrepreneurs and inventors realize these dreams. As Michael said, I've been an entrepreneur since a very young age. But at 24, frustrated it took me so long, I finally started a business with $250 and bootstrapped that up. Now, I made every mistake in small business. I never took a business class. So I bootstrapped that up for 17 years and sold it to SEIC, a big engineering company. And my passion really shifted, or my mission shifted, my personal mission was to give back to entrepreneurs and help them avoid at least some of those mistakes, because many entrepreneurs do commit the same mistake unless they get the help and the resources and the mentoring. So I'm passionate about what we're doing at UCI Applied Innovation, and I'm passionate about what we're doing here in Orange County. And I want to help entrepreneurs build their dreams. So there's a number of things happening at UCI. This touches a little bit about some of the research-related things coming out of UCI or startups. And this, again, UCI Applied Innovation is really a platform for researchers and students and alums to really channel their passion to change the world. And so one of those examples there that's highlighted is from a group of postdocs in a lab by Professor Anthonicio, who's a biomedical engineering professor, developing a portfolio of technologies to create tissue-engineered human cartilage that can help damaged joints heal. And we have all kinds of examples like that. When we talk about UCI in general, we really think we're doing our part to realize the American dream. In 2017, UCI topped the New York Times College Access Index as the university doing the most for the American dream. Money Magazine has us number 3 in 2018 on the list of best colleges in the U.S. And recently, 50% of bachelor degrees were awarded to first-generation college students. This is the second year in a row that half are first-gen. Now, this fact is really close to home for me, because I'm a first-gen. In fact, I went to UCI a long time ago, so long ago I had to ride a horse there. But I was a first-gen student, and I know what a college education can do to help someone realize their dreams. In 2018, the fall of 2018, nearly 45% of California residents offered admission are first-generation students. And I love working with first-generation students because they're hungry to build something and do something, and it's exciting to work with them. So I feel UCI Applied Innovation is doing our part for entrepreneurs really to realize their dreams. We're providing help and opportunities for startups, and our startups are a wide range. One of our startups, TriAlpha, has raised $700 million and is a fusion play. And it operates a facility here in Orange County, and it heats plasma hotter than the center of the sun here, and it uses what's called boron-11, which is a cheap and plentiful fuel, non-toxic, and there's no toxic output. It is literally going to change the energy dynamic in the world. They're a few years away from production. They've been written up in Science Magazine, the cover of Times, etc., and they literally are changing the world. So we have big science startups, but we also have student startups. One called Bottle Rocket, which if you text them, they come pick up your plastic to help recycle more plastic. So again, all kinds of different types of opportunities. Again, Applied Innovation facilitates connections for startups and investors. We bring together different facets of the ecosystem here for, again, UCI and non-UCI entrepreneurs. We offer a comprehensive set of programs. One of them is Wayfinder, which is for UCI-affiliated startups. It's an incubator to help provide them really the mentoring and the advice and all the things that they really have to consider. Here's an example of a student that's really chasing the American dream, and I think she's pretty much there, although he still has more to accomplish in her startup. But her name is Crystal Sanchez, and she's taken advantage of Applied Innovation in the Wayfinder program. She's a first-generation American and a first-generation college student. Parents are from Mexico, and her invention is the Guardian Locket. It's a wearable and fastenable necklace which is equipped with a panic button and GPS capabilities. It alerts contacts of a potential sexual assault. Crystal will tell you why she created it and about her entrepreneurial dreams. We could start that.
My name is Crystal Sanchez, and I'm the CEO and founder of Guardian Locket. As a background of Guardian Locket, it's pretty much the combination of hardware and software. So the hardware is pretty much the locket that's worn as a necklace around the wearer, and the software is an accompanying app on a phone. And it has a button on the back of it. With a single click of the button, you're able to send a false phone call to your phone in order to ward off any possible predators. With 2 more clicks of the button on the back of the locket, you're able to send your exact location, as well as 3 consecutive text messages to your top 3 emergency contacts, as well as to campus security. A big reason as to why I created Guardian Locket is, as a college student, as a female in college, you're not aware of how many things could happen, how many things could go wrong. And I think it's absolutely insane that we live in a world where every single 2 minutes, somebody gets sexually assaulted. We go into college and 1 out of 6 college students are sexually assaulted. These are odds that I absolutely do not want to be living with. And it hits even more close to home when it's someone that you know or even yourself. To be a first-generation college student is, first and foremost, such an amazing opportunity. My father at this age was working in the field. My mother at this age was taking care of her 6 siblings. And honestly, I don't think that they would ever imagine that I would be here, sitting in an office, working on my startup and trying to help, young women all across the country with Guardian Locket. Like, this is just an incredible opportunity that has been presented to me, and I'm just so thankful of every single second of it. Guardian Locket is absolutely a dream for me. I really want to see this through to the end, and my goal with this project is to really just help at least one person. Like, that is my absolute goal. And so without Applied Innovation, I feel like I wouldn't know what resources are around me. I wouldn't know what events are coming up. I wouldn't know that there were a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs here in this very university. And just to have an open outlet filled with so many incredible ideas by incredible and intelligent people is just so, so great. And I feel like without this platform and without this organization, I would not be as far as I currently am.
So I was going to ask to pause, but you already applauded. But she's been to the White House. She's been at different competitions around the U.S. And if that's not pursuing the American dream, I don't know what is. So just to finish here, I want to talk a little bit about, really what we're doing. I think we're doing it. So far in the last 10 years, we've tracked $18.9 billion invested in UCI-affiliated startups. We are helping the American dream happen here in Orange County and Southern California. This is making a massive economic impact. That's dollars invested. Obviously, that causes a lot of other dollars to be spent and a lot of other economic impact. That's in the last 10 years. But more than $7 billion of that really went to Southern California, and 42% in the last 2 years. Now, if you see my boss, tell him that was all because of Applied Innovation. That's the last 2 years. But we are on a strong vector up to really make a difference here in Southern California. Now, we want entrepreneurs to build companies in Orange County. I know you want them here in Santa Ana. We really want them all, though, in Orange County to keep the economy here robust and grow it. And so we really want to help cultivate an innovation district in Orange County. We love the cool factor here in downtown, which we don't have, that San Francisco has, is a downtown millennial effect, and we have that here in Santa Ana. But the more we can work together, the more we can really lift Orange County. The other thing I want to mention is that 46% of these startups reside in Southern California. I did mention that earlier, but that $8.7 billion went into that Southern California economy, again, in investment, which triggers a lot more economic impact. But 3.1 of that money, 3.1 billion, went into Orange County. So we, again, want to grow more here in Orange County. And we really want to help entrepreneurs in the community pursue and realize the American dream. And so you can help us. You can help us by volunteering, by helping fund some of the startups, by helping collaborate and make introductions to businesses. We would be glad to meet with you after. There's a few of us here from Applied Innovation. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share what we're doing at UCI Applied Innovation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. At the heart of sustainable economic development is what businesses, large and small, cite as most likely the largest impact or most important ingredient to growth, a skilled workforce. But I am a CEO of my own company, and I know that success is much more than skills on a resume. True success has a lot more to do with the who you are than the what you do. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce our next panel of speakers. I know them all, and I know them as passionate individuals and passionate leaders whose love for their students transcends their GPA. I think it's very important for us to realize that in terms of who it is that we're turning out. I'm going to have them come to the stage now. I want to hear, and we want to hear their take on the theme of creative innovation as it's lived out daily on their campuses. So first, I'd like to have you help me welcome Dr. Stephanie Phillips, who's the superintendent of schools for Santa Ana Unified School District. If they found the arrow. Very difficult. That's it. Next, Dr. Linda Rose, who's president of Santa Ana College. My newest friend, who I love dearly, Fram Vergy, president of Cal State Fullerton. Happens to be my alma mater. Titans reach higher, by the way. And finally, Gary Matkin, Dean of Continuing Education and the Vice Provost of Career Pathways at UCI. Welcome. So I'm going to cross my fingers that all of your mics are working well, but oh yes, those are good sounds to hear. Yeah, that's wonderful. So beyond the incredible work that these individuals are doing in the lives of their students, something that I learned only recently, and I feel like an idiot because I've been here 20 years, and it only in the last couple of years did it dawn on me the collaborative nature of what's going on. I know that each of them is extremely proud and passionate about what's happening on their university campuses and on the campuses of Santa Ana Unified, and yet there's this unique initiative, Career Pathways, Pathways to Success, or Guided Pathways. There's so many names for that. But I found it fascinating that as a student at Santa Ana Unified here, that you can go from K through 12 to Santa Ana College and matriculate to Cal State Fullerton or Chapman or UCI. It's an amazing pathway for success. And as I understand it, doing a little bit of research on it, the goals include improving the rates of college completion, transfer, job placement, adding value to the labor market, and very importantly, achieving equity in the outcomes for all of these students. So what I want to do is just spend the next few minutes with them to explore this initiative, this Pathways concept, but also to better understand under the auspices of creative innovation some of the things that you're most proud of in terms of the high impact practices that are going on each campus. And so I'd love to start with Dr. Phillips, if you wouldn't mind. Just give us some more insight, because I find this journey fascinating and so exhilarating, and maybe you could help share some.
Sure. So I'm Stephanie Phillips, Superintendent of Santa Ana Unified School District, and you know, our goal and our vision at the school district is to ensure that every student crosses that graduation finish line with a choice, who is each student fully prepared to continue with my partner organizations, go into the workforce, but be prepared to do either, or the military. So our goal is really to increase rigor, equity, and access for all of our students. You know, the demographics of our students are largely Hispanic. We have 96% Hispanic students in our system, and then other, about 2.5% other. And then there are some that have declined to identify. With that, and when you talk about urban issues and urbanization, there's oftentimes a negative connotation of what that looks like for students of color. And so our work has really been about how do we increase the access and how do we increase the rigor for our kids so that they are prepared when they go on to our partner institutions. So some of the things that I'm most proud of in terms of that really have to do with creating more classes, more access to classes that are going to get them to college, that are going to get them to better jobs in the workforce. So we have systemically gone through our course catalogs and begun to raise that rigor with some regularity. So our board over the last 3 years has approved over 40 classes that are now A through G rigorous and will get them to college. So that was something that wasn't there and that we've had to work continuously at. But that's reading, that's writing, that's all of those things. That's important, but it's not everything. So some of the other initiatives that we've really that have taken hold in our system are really about wellness, educating the whole child and the whole family. And so now we have wellness centers in every single one of our schools, and we have a district hub for wellness that really encompasses not only student issues, but now what are those family issues that are prohibiting students from being able to go to that next level? Whether it's social emotional learning or whether it's just how to get there, support, tutoring, those types of issues, we deal with those in our wellness centers. We have equipped our teachers with the resources to be able to offer 30 hours of support to our students, extra over and above the classroom time. So that's something that's new for this year. It's tutoring one-on-one with students, and every teacher can do that. Every teacher is paid to do that if the need exists. There are so many other initiatives, such as we have place-based learning opportunities where students are going out into the community through the Circulos program. We're one of 18 schools in the nation to really receive this grant and to be able to pilot some innovative opportunities for our kids to go into the community and make a social difference, make connections in the community so that they can find a voice and a purpose in terms of what their next steps are going to be and how they're going to access the rest of their educational journey. It goes on and on. We have a fantastic speech and debate program that is growing by leaps and bounds. And that program is really designed, and it has started now at the elementary school and it's gone all the way through high school. And that program is really designed to give students voice, to give them confidence, to give them the ability to express themselves so that when they do get to college and they get to those innovative spaces and they make those what do you say, collaborative collisions, that they are prepared to actually voice what's inside of them, their passions, their hopes, their dreams, and they're prepared to take advantage of those opportunities that are in front of them. And I could go on for another 10 minutes about all of the things that are happening, but when we talk about partnerships with, not only with our partner organizations, but we're partnering with NASA to provide internship opportunities so that students can dream and understand what does it mean to be on the space shuttle, and is that something that is available to me? Can I go be an astronaut or an engineer at JPL, the NASA laboratories? You know, can I go into the community and be a banker? What does that even look like? Because, you know, some people don't really understand finance, so we can expose them to those things. So this year we've had over 917 internships so that our kids can go out into the community and various communities to experience business, to experience life, to interact with people who are not from their community. And that is very valuable, and they've come back changed. And so there's a list of things that I've written down, but we're really focused on early learning and early childhood learning. Before kindergarten, we're trying to make sure that kids are ready to go to school, that they're socialized, and that their parents understand what it means to support your children in school. You know, Common Core is something that a lot of adults don't understand. And what is it that we can do to support our kids through that? And so we've really invested a lot in our teachers and training, our staffs, all different programs so that our kids have access. They have equity in terms of when they get to those higher educational opportunities that they can compete, and they are competing. So thank you.
Fantastic. Dr. Rose. Every time I see these two, every time I'm eating somewhere in downtown Santa Ana, for some reason I run into the two of you. So I know there's collaboration going on. I know there is over the meal table, but I have a suspicion you're talking about passionate things together.
I think it's all, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
you're good.
I think for the collaboration or those collisions, there's a long-standing history at Santa Ana College of the partnership with Santa Ana Unified, with Cal State Fullerton, and with UCI. And it certainly predates me. And that collaboration from the Middle College High School located on our campus is really wonderful. I mean, it's fabulous that not only do we have high school students in a facility on our campus, we have students from high schools within the Santa Ana Unified School District at locations coming to Santa Ana College while they are in high school. That takes a lot of additional energy. The fact that you are ambitious enough as a high school student to actually take additional classes. And it's not only Santa Ana Unified, but it's students who live in Santa Ana who are attending other schools, charter schools, and other schools that they want to come and get college credits so that they can make a transition earlier. Because once you graduate from high school, time is your enemy. Time is your enemy. And I hear students say, okay, and how long do I have to stay here to do that? They don't want to be on a college campus for 10 or 15 years trying to get the academic instruction that they need. We need students or who come to our campus who are ready to go out into the workplace after brief training to, that's what employers tell us all the time. Reading, writing, speaking, going back to the speech and debate. I can teach you in my business the technical skills, right? But I need you to come to me ready to learn. And I often share with students that learning how to learn is one of the major tenets of a college education. Because when you leave there, you know how to learn. And if you know how to do that, and you go to a particular employer and you are able to learn what the skill set is so you can do your job, you can learn anything, anywhere. And that begins at Santa Ana Unified. When they get to Santa Ana College, we have our program in global logistics. We have accounting. We have, political science, sociology, psychology. All these different programs are available to students to help them explore what the possibilities are for their own education and how they can change the world. I was out on our Central Mall today because the clubs were out there, and they were talking about what things they wanted their peers to do for the next year on campus. And I was just really thrilled to hear that, honestly, the majority of the students want to give back to this community. How do I come back to Santa Ana and help my community grow? How do I come back to Santa Ana to help the community be what I think it can be? Whether it's myself being an entrepreneur, because I do have many students who want to go into their own businesses, and we have an entrepreneurship program on our campus. So it doesn't have to take you 5 years to do this. We have an occupational studies program, which is one of 15 bachelor's degree programs in California community colleges. There are 114 community colleges. We have one of 15 bachelor's degree programs in occupational studies, which means that our students who move from our occupational therapy assistant program are already primed to go into our Bachelor of Science degree in occupational studies. But we are the only game in town for other OTA programs as far as San Diego. They are coming to us in order to enroll in that program. So at Santa Ana College, we are being innovative. We have our TV media. We have the Digital Media Center right there on Bristol. I can't even list the different, it's hundreds of them. We have so many opportunities available. But with all of those choices, we have to be more strategic as educators so that students don't get lost on the path. Because you can be on the path, but you can get lost. And so our goal is to help students understand these are the choices you can make within these different categories. So we are actually in the process of mapping out all of the different programs we have so it's more strategic. So when students come to the college, they can look at these strategic pillars And they can decide within this category, oh, okay, I can go down this path, or this path. And it's not going to take me this long. It'll take me to UCI, it'll take me to Fullerton, or it'll take me to Berkeley, it'll take me to Columbia, it'll take me any place I want to go. So that's what we're about, and it's really exciting to watch this change for our college, which is, we're over 100 years old, but we don't have to act like that.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So a sighting of Fram outside the campus of Cal State Fullerton is a rare sighting. I can't even, it feels like you've been there for so long, and I know it hasn't been that long, but this man's calendar, I mean, talk about someone who is passionate about digging into people's lives. He and his wife are just all over this campus. I don't know how many, probably hundreds of encounters with business organizations, community, but you're obviously, there's something driving you. And so I'd love to just understand more about Fullerton. And you're coming in new with a renewed passion to see change occur in the lives of your students, and I'd just love to have you share with our audience today.
Sure. So the words that have been used have been accidental collisions or for innovation, and I understand that innovation often occurs spontaneously or accidentally, but I will tell you there is nothing accidental about this, about the connections that we have as institutions together. I might start with a little bit about demographics because I think that's important to understand for Santa Ana and for Orange County. We are what Santa Ana Unified is. We are what Santa Ana College is. About almost 50% of our students are Hispanic. About a third of our students are Asian Pacific Islander. And then we have, of course, everything that's left that goes along with that. So what we are today is what Orange County will look like tomorrow, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, and maybe even faster than that. The last 2 years, our entering class has been more than 50% Hispanic. And so we are seeing those changes. We are at 65% for first-generation students in our entering classes and in our graduating classes now. So 65% of our students that graduated last year. We graduated 12,000 students last year. We have 40,000, almost 41,000 students, and 12,000 students graduated. About 65% of those were first in their family to go to college, which you know is the most transformative thing you can do, not only for those students, but for their families, not only for the present, but for the future. On the other end of that spectrum, we have almost 300,000 alumni, one of them right there, who we're about as proud as we can be of. And of those 300,000 alumni, 80% of them live within 50 miles of our campus. So whether you started out being an Orange County resident or a resident of Santa Ana, when you graduate from Cal State Fullerton, you end up staying here in Orange County and often in Santa Ana. That means the impact that we have with that many alumni and with that, the economic impact that we have as an institution is significant. So then the question becomes, what do we do to prepare our students so that they can be prepared for that future? College or university is a lot about getting someone ready for that first job. But I tell my engineers or my nurses or those that are going to go into social work or those that are political science or biology or chemistry or whatever it might be, you think you're getting prepared for your life and you're preparing yourself by taking these substantive courses for your first job. I want to prepare you for your second job and your third job and your fourth job. When you're an engineer, you're going to be an engineer for 4 or 5 years, and then you're going to come up with that, you're going to have that accidental collision, and you're going to come up with an idea, and you're going to turn into an entrepreneur, or you're going to be promoted, and you're going to be an administrator or a supervisor, and the next thing you know, you're going to be starting your own business, and you better understand what it's like to communicate communicate. You better be able to read a balance sheet. You better be able to see yourself around a business perspective. And so don't just focus on engineering, but also know that the world that you are going into is going to be a cross-cultural world where people work together and have to work together in those environments. And so I'm out in the community, as you mentioned, all the time talking to business people, and I'm asking them, what do you want to see from our students? And what they say is, look, I know they're going to get the substantive knowledge when they go to university. And most of the substantive knowledge that they're not going to get, I'm going to be able to teach them because that's what I know. But what I need them to be able to do is communicate, to write, to think abstractly, to think creatively, and to work cross-culturally. So we are working in everything that we do to redesign what we do at Cal State Fullerton to emphasize those things. So we want our students not just taking classes in one particular college or one particular area, but working across those areas. I just met one of our professors today that gave me the most wonderful example. She is a music professor. She composes music, and yet she's been working with our science department out in the desert, in our Desert Studies Center, trying to understand water conservation and then describe it in music. So she's got her students, her music students, working with our science students, and they're examining how science and art interact, because that's the creativity of life. We talk about artificial intelligence a lot these days, and what it's going to do to take over many of the jobs we have. I talk to my accounting students all the time. I say, you guys better be careful, because one day the accounting job is going to be able to be done by AI, and then what are you going to do? So what we want our students to be able to do is do the things that AI will never be able to do, to think creatively, to work collaboratively, and to communicate well with each other. And so those are the things that we're working on. We are very, very committed to something that we were just talking about the last time we met, which is getting students through college in a time that is right for them, that meets their demands if they're working or they're taking care of their family or they're full-time, whatever it might be, but that we're not the impediment for them. So we're working hard on what we call Graduation Initiative 2025, where we are making sure that all the classes are available that they need to take, talking and counseling freshmen when they come in or transfer students when they come from the very beginning, that if this is what you want to do, these are the classes you need to take and when they're available, and helping them populate those course schedules for the future, but thinking more broadly down the line as well. And also looking for what is going to make them most prepared. When I talk to folks out in the business community, what they say is, I need your students to have some sense of business, some sense of what it's like to work in the business world, or work as an engineer, or work as a nurse. And so what we work on are what we call high impact practices. I know everybody calls them that. HIPs, right? It's hip to call them HIPs. And that means immersive experiences with entrepreneurship, or with internships, or with mentorship from the outside. We have, like UCI, many centers out in the community: our Center for Entrepreneurship, our Center for Family Business, our Center for Healthy Neighborhoods, where we have our students that are focused on those areas out working in the community, so that by the time they graduate, they haven't just had the book knowledge. They've got their hands, arms, and shoulders dirty figuring out how to do this out in the community, and they are prepared. We want them to be prepared. And the last thing I will say, because I could talk all night about this, is I don't just want them to be prepared for the workforce. I want them to be prepared to be civically engaged. I want them to give back. I want them to want to give back. I want them to vote. I want them to understand the issues and be part of the fabric of what creates the Orange County fabric and the fabric of Santa Ana. And that's why we have Grand Central Arts. That's why we have the involvement in Santa Ana. This is a vibrant place. Look, I was blown away by watching the videos. They were awesome. But all you have to do is walk down the streets of this place, and you feel the same kind of energy and promise and hope that you feel when you walk on my campus. And that is the synergy that puts us together. That's why we can be great partners together. And that's why I want to be partners with Santa Ana. That's why we have the Santa Ana Promise. That's why we work with Santa Ana College. We are the largest college in California for taking transfer students of any college and university in California. We graduate more women than any university in the Cal State system. We're number 3 in graduating Hispanics, number 5 in the nation for graduating students of color. But at the same time, we are a rigorous university. They did a study across the nation for which universities were the hardest to get a good grade in, to get an A in. And they rated the top 25. Cal State Fullerton is number 13. Wow. We are a rigorous institution. Why is that? Because we take students from underserved communities that may not have had all the resources and all the opportunities. And by the time they leave us, because they came from these 2 great institutions most often, they are prepared to compete with anybody, anywhere, and that's what we're most proud of.
Just wish there was just a little more passion. It's fantastic. Gary, bring us home, my friend.
Thank you. Well, you heard from my colleague, Dr. Sudek, that had a brief introduction to UCI and its statistics. And again, in the UC system, we are among the most diverse. Actually, a couple of statistics that I'll add to what Richard talked about. Of the 61 universities, it's top 61 universities in the country in the AAU, only 2 institutions have HSI status, Hispanic Serving Institution. One of them is Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, one of them UCI. And so, again, we have we're drawing on a population that is, we're serving a population very much as diverse as the population of Santa Ana, and we feel that that's one of our most proud. The proud thing I'm most proud of about UCI is the fact that we, as Richard said, by the New York Times has rated us number 1 in the country as far as fulfilling the American dream, and so that's just an amazing statistic. We've done that twice now, and it's really a statistic. I want to go back. One other thing I'd like to say about UCI before I talk about specific programs, and that is that earlier this week, the U.S. News and World Report rankings of universities came out. When I first came to UCI 18 years ago, I think we were ranked 47. Great, top 50 out of the 2,600 four-year institutions in the country, 47 is pretty good. This year we were ranked 33. So we jumped that many points in those years, at least in those years. Last year we were ranked number 9 in the top 10 in the top public universities. This year we ranked 7. We jumped 2 spots in a very, very tough ranking. So we're really clearly, the reason I mention that is that in terms of the audience that I'm speaking to, the 36,000 students on our campus represent a huge labor talent pool for Santa Ana and for Orange County. Most of the students, the largest number of those students, want to enter meaningful careers. They want jobs. And most of them, as President Fram said, want jobs here because they like Orange County. And also they're here, and so they're not as likely to have sticker shock on the real estate market as people from outside. And so we really need to grow our own, whether it's from any of these institutions to my left or from UCI. We really need to grow our own talent. And UCI is unique in the country in putting under one administrator, namely me, both continuing education and career services for the campus. Under my hat as Vice Provost for Career Pathways, my responsibility is to try to help 36,000 students find meaningful careers. Under my hat as Dean of Continuing Education, My job is to help people who have already graduated go through go through the life transitions that we all go through, from school to work, from career to career, from job to job, and from work to retirement. When we put those two units together, we form a talent, a resource for development efforts throughout Orange County and certainly for Santa Ana. Not only do we have 36,000 students who all want meaningful careers, we also have 175,000 alumni, not certainly the number you have, but 175 alumni, many of whom do remain here in Orange County, who also form a talent pool that's available for the development in economic development in our county. And also, we have graduates of the continuing education division, about 40,000 a year, that also are going through credit certificate programs that are designed to help them improve their skills or change their careers, such as project management, personal financial planning, gifted and talented education, and so on. We have 70 of those programs, and we have, and most of them are online, so they're very convenient. One of our main thrusts now is to help businesses discover through us the talent that they need in our university. So we're developing programs that work directly with employers to get their recruitment needs understood and then find those students that meet those needs. One of our clients is a corporation that really wants to have more women in technology. We have a club called Women in Technology, as a matter of fact, and so it's logical to put those groups together. But that's the sort of knitting together that we really want to see. With regard to continuing education, we are in Santa Ana. Actually, if Mike Hara is still here, we're working with Mike on his big project to try to attract businesses to Santa Ana. We have just started a new online culinary academy, and that academy is located here in Santa Ana. So we have a few impulses right now in Santa Ana that we're following through and looking forward to a great cooperation. UCI is just down the street. It's sometimes a crowded street. The 55 gets a little crowded here and there, back and forth. But maybe what we're looking for is to make that street a little more crowded with more interaction between UCI and Santa Ana. And I'd be happy to facilitate that kind of interaction and that kind of traffic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I know we're running a little long, but I have to ask one more question. And you can just give me a one-sentence answer. Was that instructive? Yeah. I've got educators. This is very difficult for me. What brings you most joy in your job?
When I see a student who gets it and who makes it.
Linda.
One sentence.
One sentence.
What brings me the most joy in my job is interacting with students who are excited about the future.
Awesome. Fran.
Knowing that what I do today will make this a better world for the future, tomorrow.
Awesome.
Changing people's lives for the better.
Fantastic. Great, great panel. Such passion here. I mean, the students in Santa Ana, the adults, Linda and I were talking the other day, one of the largest growing populations on your campus is adults going back to work, many moms with kids on their own. There's such a diverse group of individuals that are so in such great hands with leaders like this in our community. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your hearts with us. Appreciate it. Okay. The good news, we have high energy fellows coming up here right now. So hang in there, because this is awesome. Look, I'm located just a couple blocks away from 4th Street. I'm there a lot, but I'm not there to grab and go and come back to the office. It's not that I don't love being in my office, but it has more to do with the fact that when I'm there, I'm with people. There's a sense of community. Orange County is really odd. I love it. I've lived here forever, but it's odd because there doesn't seem to be a central anything, right? We kind of move to in our communities. We tend to revolve around certain areas. Who thought that the district, you build this thing with hangars and people show up? I know that, speaking of entrepreneurial risk, that Ryan took an amazing risk with 4th Street Market, but he built it and people came, and it's indicative of the trends that are going on right now. So unofficially, experiences like that one at 4th Street kind of really serve as the heart and soul of a community. Food in the middle of anything is a draw for people. But this phenomenon is really kind of driven by some changing demographics. There's growing population. This desire to come back to an urban environment where you can live, work, and play is extremely strong. And these public places are really enticing, but they're really interesting because they really begin to serve as almost a kind of this social, I'll call it a sanctuary, right? There's something that happens when you're in with people in community, collaborating around anything. So shopping has just changed so dramatically over the last few years. One of the biggest investments that I know retailers are making, we heard a little bit, Stephen shared a bit, is around differentiating their offerings based on experience and convenience. So to introduce us to a term I didn't even know about until a few months ago, until Jonathan helped me out with this, but this idea of retailtainment is something that Santa Ana is on the bleeding edge of, and it's because of men like Ryan Chase and Jonathan Mayer that this is happening. So I would like to call them to the stage right now. Jonathan Mayer is the Senior General Manager of Centennial Real Estate, and Ryan Chase, who many of you know, Principal with SNA Properties and East End DTSA. So please welcome my friends to the stage.
All right, so I guess we got to be high energy, so get ready, okay? All right, so we're talking about retailtainment, the evolution of retail. You got a couple guys, you got myself. I'm the big developer, Centennial Real Estate. We own Main Place Mall here in Santa Ana. And to my left here, we have Ryan Chase. Come on up here, Ryan. So I want to make sure you guys don't get us confused. We do a lot of speaking engagements. People confuse us sometimes, mix us up. We made it easy today. Ryan wore jeans, okay? So that should be pretty easy for you guys.
I wore a coat too, which I never wear, so I just step it up.
All right, so evolution of retail. So if you listen to the media or the doom and gloom analysts, they'll tell you that brick and mortar retail is dead, right? So if you believe that, come to Main Place on any given weekend, because that's ridiculous. The Main Place is packed on the weekends, families, couples, out shopping, having a good time. Brick and mortar retail is definitely not dead, but it is changing. So we're going to talk about kind of the changes to retail. Retailtainment is the concept, I guess, of adding entertainment and experiential elements to the retail mix. And at Centennial Real Estate, people are always asking us, how do you compete, how does retail compete with Amazon? And the reality is we don't. We don't try to compete with Amazon, right? We're completely two different things, right? If you want to buy a hammer or a shirt or something for your backyard from Amazon, you can do that. That's fine. But what Amazon and all the online retailers can't do is provide an experience. And those experiences are important. Those social outings, those times where you go out with your significant other, or meet up with your friends, or do something fun with your family, those are the things that bring us together. And those are the things that motivate people to get off their couches, to be honest. So food and beverage, amusement, art, fitness, and entertainment, they're all being integrated into traditional retail environments. Shopping centers are being transformed with the integration of movie theaters, restaurants, concert venues, aquariums, fitness centers, museums, food halls, bowling alleys, arcades, amusement centers, I can keep going on. But this evolution provides a consumer an experience you can't get online. So at Main Place, and Steve Mendoza stole a little bit of my thunder here, okay? But we ready for my little... So the most recent example at Main Place we talk about for redevelopment is we redeveloped a former department store. And we brought in some new uses. And people wonder, how do we decide what uses to put into that space? The reality is, we asked you guys. We came to the consumers, we talked to the shoppers, and we said, what do you want to see here? So based upon that feedback, we delivered this. And what we did is we brought in fitness with 24-hour Fitness Supersport. We brought in some great family entertainment with Round 1. We brought in outstanding restaurants like Lucille's Barbecue and Panini Kebab Grill in Wakeno. The only fashion retail store that we put into this redevelopment in a former 150,000 square foot box for Macy's is DXL, and it's because I needed some place to buy new suits. So, how do we evolve retail? So from a development perspective, and you have two developers here today, we understand that consumers are more knowledgeable than ever before. Up to 48% of people state that they do research online before they make a purchase. So today's consumer is a much more informed shopper. But still 63% of shoppers prefer to touch and experience a product before they purchase it, right? So that's important to realize, right? So but what we're seeing is that traditional retail mix is being, the retail mixes model is being overhauled. The days, and I'm a mall guy, right? So the days of simple retail therapy and shop till you drop, unfortunately, those are over, okay? But what you're going to see is you're going to see the mix of retail centers completely change. I grew up in the area, 80s and 90s, shopping centers, 80% was soft goods, traditional fashion retail, cosmetics, jewelry, jewelry. Oh. Okay, sorry guys. So the big thing here is what you're going to see in shopping centers in the future is that just like we did with our most recent development, you're going to have now, instead of 80% traditional retail, you're going to have upwards of 50% food and beverage, up to 30% entertainment. You're going to have 10%, everyday convenience. And you're going to see, for the first time in history, you're going to see a shopping center where less than 50% of the mix is traditional fashion retail. So completely different. The other part of retailtainment that I wanted to kind of touch on is that you're now seeing retailers that are kind of engaging with their community a lot more, to getting people to allow them to engage with their products, try their products. And while you're seeing some pictures right now of the redeveloped former department store, you're also going to see in a minute some pictures of how you're seeing retailers kind of step outside the four walls of their store to kind of engage with their consumers. You're having large retailers like Macy's and Mac. They're doing full-on events, fully produced events where people can come get a makeover, try products, experience them like they've never done before. And I think that's a cool thing because everybody likes to try before you buy, right? So this is a great way for retailers to get out in front of their consumers in a new way and have people experience their brands. The other thing that they do is they participate in events. So there's a ton of events, and the kickoff video to today's conference showcased some events that have happened here in Santa Ana. And in these events, you have the opportunities where retailers, restaurants participate, and again, get people to try their products, get the products into their hands. The last thing I want to talk about is well, I'm going to skip through here, is people, when they meet me, the first thing they want to talk about is, obviously we have an empty department store right now, Nordstrom, right? So that when they talk to me, they want to say, okay, what's happening with the Nordstrom store? So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a quick video of what we have planned for the Nordstrom space. I hope it's cool. To give you a frame of reference of where you're at right now, currently facing Main Street, there's a large parking structure that we're going to tear down to create this new open plaza area with a park that we're going to activate, live music, events, right in front facing Main Street. Well, we're not done. So then the Nordstrom box itself, okay? So we're going to completely open it up, and we're going to bring in a mixture of new retail. We're going to have a brand new luxury theater inside it. We're going to have a huge food and beverage emporium inside it. Check it out. This is where you're all going to be after work pretty soon.
So as Jonathan said, retail is changing, but it is not dead. Retailers just have to adapt and differentiate themselves by products and experience they're offering. Basically, today's retail succeeds when they are offering something you cannot get online, and if you can get it online, make it worthwhile to get off your couch to a brick and mortar store. Well, all of these changes seen a lot of new interesting trends on a national and macro level, and I'm going to share a few of them before I get into particulars of Santa Ana. While many stores are closing, some online retailers are actually opening brick and mortar stores, such as Amazon and Bonobos. You're also seeing a lot of brick and mortar stores changing their concepts, such as the new Nordstrom store local in West Hollywood. They sell no clothes, but they allow the customer to touch and try product, grab a coffee or glass of wine, and experience their brand. And for some stores and some brands, it's less about the product and profitability of the actual store. It's more about the focus of showcasing their brand, their new products, hosting special events, and even having concierge services, which goes into having an omni-channel presence and retailers wanting to touch their customers in every way they can, through a social media influencer, to a limited giveaway, to a loyalty program that brings you back into the store, both online and physical. Another example of a change in retail is the Lincoln showroom at Fashion Island. They don't sell cars, but you can look there and you can try one there. You can test drive it. They're also able to target their specific demographic and gain a lot of traffic they generally would not see. I personally had no interest in buying a Lincoln, but after walking by, I actually added it to my list of cars to look at. So it works from a brand exposure standpoint and a minimum, and expands their awareness and presence. You're also seeing a lot more retail collaboration, such as with Aldi Market opening in Kohl's, or Amazon selling tires that can be installed at Sears Tire Centers. Another is Sephora and JCPenney. It started as a trial and now is in most of the stores. So basically, JCPenney's influence expands JCPenney's influence in cosmetics and beauty and allows Sephora to push more product into a market and customer they generally wouldn't touch. Along the same lines, you're also seeing a lot of collaborations where you can now return Amazon products to brick and mortar stores, such as Kohl's. It started as a pilot and recently expanded to over 100 stores. You're also seeing a lot of Amazon lockers, including what we have at 4th Street Market, which allows Amazon to expand their footprint in a variety of locations with minimal upstart cost and capital. Another trend you are seeing and will only continue to see grow are shared spaces, such as food halls and retail projects that share cost, scale, and synergistic traffic. As an example, there were 70 food halls in the United States in 2015. There are almost 200 today, and there will be almost 300 by 2020. These shared spaces allow retailers to have smaller footprints and allow a trend you're seeing as retailers continue to focus on their offerings and not waste time on extra space and rent. So the question becomes, how is this relevant to Santa Ana and the changing retail landscape? As a small business, a lot of emphasis is about differentiating yourself, and as I mentioned earlier, about people getting people off the couch. And that entails much bigger emphasis on food and entertainment. East End, formerly Fiesta Marketplace, the 4-square block area that you're in today, originally had 4 restaurants, was mostly a shopping destination, and had a movie theater. Today it has 12 food and drink concepts, 4th Street Market with another 15 restaurants, and for entertainment has the Frida Cinema and Ars Theater and the Yost Theater, which you're in today. Again, offering unique programming and things you can't find elsewhere in Orange County. So from 4 food concepts to 27 food concepts, and what you get out of that, or what the result of that is a lot less fashion, a lot less soft goods. Because the reality is you can't compete with it online, and you can't compete with Target, and you can't compete with Walmart. So what's left at East End are retail categories that are destination locations, that are curating products and hosting events that you cannot find elsewhere, or that are offering something unique and different. So one example of that is Stussy. Stussy is a very well-known and very respected surface streetwear brand that opened up 2 months ago down the block from here. It was their 5th store in America. They have stores in New York City and Soho, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Honolulu. The fact they chose downtown Santa Ana for their 5th store in America is a big deal. And to tie that back to the current retail landscape, the store is actually called Stussy Archive, which the purpose is to actually hand select and curate the products they're carrying, and it's mostly retro and vintage selections. And when I mean curate, I mean the store manager literally goes into the warehouses and picks out the products they're selling on the shelf that day. Just as an example, the first day they opened, they had a tourist from China actually come over. He wanted to buy the whole store. And they told him no because they'd opened an hour earlier, but they allowed him to buy some goods, which he actually live streamed and sold and auctioned off online to buyers around the world. He was able to effectively arbitrage items where you buy it for $30 and sell it for $100 on the spot. I think it's pretty cool. Another example is Riff OC. It's a sneaker and streetwear reseller with a location in downtown LA and San Francisco. Again, downtown Santa Ana as well, located here. And what they do is they sell limited edition products and an extremely loyal following that includes many celebrities, hip-hop artists, and musicians. Their grand opening had several hundred people come, but beyond that, what I think is even more interesting and unique is many people from throughout California, even one person that I swear to God drove from Ohio to come get shoes. And the reason being is they wanted the first look at all these limited edition sneakers. Crazy, but people do it. Another example, and even furthermore, they have a pair of shoes in there that was $30,000. Again, I don't get it, but people do. Another example is Alta Baja Market at 4th Street Market here in downtown Santa Ana, which specializes in food and crafts from California, Mexico, and the Southwest. And what's so unique about Alta Baja is that she curates her products you really cannot find anywhere. And when I mean anywhere, I mean to the point where she might be the only person carrying this particular salsa in America. And a lot of the ways she curates products is she literally goes to parking lots of Tijuana to meet with her vendors and come back here. I mean, I thought at the border probably thinks she's a drug dealer because of all the trips back and forth. But again, she's curating literally these impossible to find products you cannot find anywhere. So I think it's really, really neat. And on top of that, she's also offering very unique programming, arts and craft events, cooking classes and tastings, book signings, and much more. Again, differentiating yourself from the competition. Along the same lines, we have another store called Unlisted that carries art, lifestyle, and home goods, all selected and handmade by local artisans. Unlisted also curates exclusive programming such as in-store tattooing by well-known artists, live painting, and workshops. And again, it's going to get you off your couch because you can't find that online. On the entertainment side, the Frida Cinema is an art house independent theater that's located across the street here. They may show a film that's only being shown in a few theaters in the country. Or they might be having a director of a film come speak after the film that again, you can't find or recreate. People will travel near and far to come get these experiences. And the reality is most of you probably drove by 10 movie theaters today to get here. But those theaters aren't going to offer the same thing we're offering here. So again, it's what sets it apart and differentiates ourselves. Santa Ana is also home to the esports arena. It's the first large dedicated esports arena in the United States. It's basically online gaming. They host daily tournaments, and they have large-scale national events. But since they've opened 3 years ago in Santa Ana, they've now opened in Oakland, California, and they've also opened the Luxor in Las Vegas, and with continued huge growth and a lot of capital they've raised. And the fact that, again, esports chose downtown Santa Ana as their first location showcases the progressiveness and I think the direction of retailtainment and what's happening in the city. Food is also a huge driver, and even restaurants now have to differentiate themselves. So one example is Playground 2.0, which is on the promenade right here. They have a 17-seat culinary theater that hosts preset meals. But it's not just the meal, it's a 3.5-hour experience. And that's really what people are coming for. Other examples are Electric City Butcher, who hosts butchery classes, Worst House, who has weekly trivia, and Blinking Owl Distillery, who offers behind-the-scenes tours and tastings. Again, these are all things you can't find online and differentiate ourselves from the competition. I had mentioned shared spaces before as well, and 4th Street Market is a shared food incubator and kitchen space across the street that I operate. Beyond food and drink, the venue offers almost nightly music entertainment, as well as movie nights, trivia nights, open mic nights, cooking classes, community events, and much more. We're even hosting a big brunch September 30th and several other big events over the holidays just to compete and be different. Being a food hall isn't enough. If you want people to come back, you need to entice them back. And sometimes something else will make that difference or get them again off their couch. And I can't talk too much about it now, but I will share that we are working on another shared space in the downtown that we think will bring another really neat element and, again, more incubation to the area. To conclude, I really think that downtown Santa Ana and Santa Ana as a whole has so many exciting, cutting-edge things happening, and I really think we're primed and we're ready for the next generation of retail. So with that, I'm going to pass it back on to Jonathan. Thank you very much.
All right. So, Mike touched on this earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit about live, work, play. So I read an article that said by 2019, millennials are expected to outnumber baby boomers and will become the largest consumer demographic. This generation wants to live and work right in the heart of where they also play, okay? So there's a demand for additional housing, office, and hotel space here in Santa Ana near the vibrant nightlife, award-winning restaurants, quality entertainment, and variety of retail offerings. And developers are already gearing up and already planning for this and already working with the city. And when I say close by, I don't mean they want to be able to drive to it. They want to be able to walk to it. They want to walk out of their office, they want to walk out of their house and come right into a fun environment where they have shopping, dining, and entertainment right there. Main Place just celebrated our 30-year anniversary. We're excited to begin our redevelopment and bring the next evolution of Main Place to this community. We talked, we're going to be bringing a first-run theater, outdoor plaza area, food and beverage emporium, as well as hotel, apartment, and office spaces on site. So we can truly have live, work, and play on the site that's currently where Main Place is today. So pretty soon, you're going to be able to visit a friend, family member, or colleague, or yourself live in a place that has a view overlooking the redeveloped Main Place, or it could even be downtown overlooking 4th Street Market, okay? I'm going to wrap up this section. We're going to showcase our plan for the retail transformation at Main Place, the things that we're going to be working on over the next few years. I just showed a little video. I have another one. I'm going to show you a video that we use to court a tenant, an entertainment tenant, that will be a new anchor for Main Place, okay? But first I have to swear everybody to secrecy, okay?
No cameras.
So we have SAPD here undercover. So if anybody attempts to video what I'm going to show you, just be aware of that, okay? So this is not for public broadcast. This is just me sharing this with my closest 300 friends, okay? So in the video, what I'll tell you is, again, this was used to court a tenant that we're going to be bringing to Santa Ana, the heart of Orange County. Please do not hold me accountable for some of the brand names of other retailers. Can't be doing that, Janelle, when the video comes on, okay? But you cannot showcase or talk about or hold me accountable to some of the brands of retails. So some of the stores I put in there for renderings to kind of depict the type of stores or restaurants we're going to bring. If you have specific restaurants or retail stores or concepts that you would like to bring to Main Place, email me, okay? We're at that stage. I would love to hear your feedback. But don't hold me accountable. If you see one in the video, it might or might not come, okay? Just be aware of that, okay? With that, and we're almost to the point of free cocktails, so just bear with us for a couple more minutes, okay? When you get those free cocktails, please make sure that you engage with the exhibitors and the sponsors that are going to be upstairs. Nothing better than enjoying a cocktail and learning more about what's happening here in Santa Ana. We made it. Oh, you're still here. Wonderful. That is the conclusion of our program for today. I hope that you all come away informed, inspired, and understanding where Santa Ana sits right now in terms of growth. And I think this was a great example of what creative innovation and a platform of that means. So as Jonathan promised, as you exit today, if you go up to the left and up the stairs, we have exhibitors' tables up there. It's a good time to network, get to know each other, ask some questions of some of the speakers. Wow, I'm getting the hook. This is very embarrassing. I'm a Titan. Goodness sake. So head up there. We actually have our Taste of the East End. In the back of your lanyards, you may see that you have tickets there. There are 10 tickets for drinks and refreshments and food. 4th Street Market is open, and I think Ryan said maybe 5 or 6 other restaurants. 20 places total, right out the door. As Jonathan mentioned earlier, you can just come out, turn right. There are a couple exhibits out there. Century High School has their electric race car out there, and Circulus Class in another partnership project between Santa Ana Unified and Segerstrom. There's an entire interactive display out there. So enjoy yourselves, enjoy Santa Ana, and please come back and visit with us again. Yes, sir. The name of all the venues that are participating in the Taste are on the back of your in your tickets. You heard it from the man who created it. So there you go. And there's an elevator. Anybody else want to throw in? Come on, help me out here. And the Taste goes to 7:30. And Main Place will be done by the time our program is concluded. So thank you so much for being here. Go enjoy yourselves.